The United Nations seeks to raise nearly $4.3 billion at a pledge event for war-torn Yemen. More than 17 million people in Yemen need food assistance, and this could rise to 19 million in the second half of the year, according to UN concerned bodies. More details on this story are in the following report.
After more than 7 years of war, over 23 million Yemenis face hunger, disease and other life-threatening risks, a 13% increase compared to 2021. As the country's basic services and economy are collapsing, almost 161,000 people will soon be facing catastrophic food insecurity, an indication of the fate of a staggering 7.1 million who are just one step behind this ultimate stage of humanitarian crisis. Nearly $4.3 billion is required in 2022 to reach 17.2 million people, but funding has dried up for UN agencies and their non-governmental partners. Therefore, international donors has convened today in a bid to jumpstart funding for the severely under-resourced humanitarian operation in Yemen at a high-level event hosted by the UN, Switzerland and Sweden. As Mr. Ignacio Cassis, President of Switzerland and head of the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs, said,
"A humanitarian aid team from Switzerland traveled to Yemen a few weeks ago and reported that there is a real risk that the limited vital infrastructure that is still in place will collapse. Millions of Yemenis have already seen their food rations cut due to a lack of funding."
Without rapid injections of cash, almost 4 million people will no longer have safe water to drink, and 1 million women and girls stand to lose access to reproductive health services and protection from gender-based violence. Earlier this year, 8 million people saw their food rations cut in half, without further reductions on the way. Two-thirds of major UN projects in Yemen have already been forced to either scale back or close due to underfunding. As Ms. Ann Linde, Swedish Minister for Foreign Affairs, added,
"The conflict has left 3/4 of the Yemeni population in the need of humanitarian assistance and protection. More than half of them are For many Yemenis, the situation is now looking to become even worse. Another 3 million people are expected to be pushed into food insecurity, leaving a total of 19 million people in acute hunger at the end of 2022.
Also, American actress and Goodwill Ambassador Angelina Jolie said,
10 days ago, I was in Yemen to meet some of the 4 million people displaced by conflict. I visited one informal settlement that was home to 130 families, only 20 of them receiving any food aid at all. And then it was only when funding was available.
In 2021, donors generously provided $2.35 billion, which helped keep Yemen afloat and people alive. Increased financial support will get the aid operation back on track, but efforts are needed to also address the underlying drivers of people's needs. This means stabilizing the economy, a major driver of food insecurity in Yemen, and sustaining basic services like education and healthcare. The people of Yemen need peace. Without it, millions will continue to be condemned to extreme levels of poverty, hunger, and suffering. And as Antonio Guterres said in today's donors' meeting, allowing the war to continue is a choice, but ending it is also a choice.